and the chairperson Kanika Ware, I welcome you all aboard Flowfield's flight FA111. Thanks to the pandemic, we have been cocooned in our little rooms, and the only flights we have boarded have been our flights of fancy. So here we are today, in the wake of the very scathing second wave, albeit a little more certain and a lot more vaccinated. I would request, this is our very first physical event of the tenure, so I would request our chairperson Kanika Ware, senior vice chairperson Pooja Gupta, our past president Archana Khaitan, Anuradha Vaishnav, Aarti Gupta, and our esteemed guest Captain Zoya Agarwal to come forward and light the lamp. May the show begin.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्तर बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Everyone, I take great pride in being a Flow member. New members, I bring to you Flow, the women's wing of FICCI, the apex body of industry and commerce in India. An all-India forum for women, Flow has its headquarters in Delhi with 18 chapters pan-India, the latest one being added in Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh. Flow proudly represents over 8,000 women entrepreneurs, professionals, corporate executives, and freelancers working from home. Each year we bring to our members the finest speakers from the industry to encourage and facilitate women to showcase their talents, skills, experience and energies across sectors and verticals of our economy. We've had the privilege to hear insightful stories and experiences from stalwarts like Sudha Murthy, Sister Shivani, Shobna Bhatia, Zia Modi, and the late Padma Shri Dr. K.K. Agarwal, to name a few. The Flow Vision for 2021 under our competent chairperson Kanika Ware is TEAM, teamwork with emphasis on trade, educate, activate and manage. We endeavour to take our 3-year-old Kanpur chapter to newer heights. Now, may I invite Ronita to introduce Ek Pyali Chai or Thodi Si Story.
We all have had our fair share of anguish and heartbreaks through these months, and that have made us realize the value of the simplest pleasures of life, and we've learned to cherish smallest of memories. To that intent, our chairperson came up with this fascinating blogger hubby idea that why don't we request the members to pen down their thoughts and their motivating stories, and which has motivated them, and dig deep into their treasure troves of life and submit their stories for us to check. And the 5 shortlisted ones, we want to showcase them in our next networking event. And we have already, and today is the mega unveiling of that storytelling event, Ek Pyali Chai or Thodi Si Story. What better way than to have with us the indomitable commercial pilot, Zoya Agarwal, and we would like to hear her unique story about the wind beneath her wings. So here to Kanika and Zoya. Please Kanika, come to the stage.
Good afternoon everyone, and a very warm welcome to our first event of the year 2021-22. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all in person today. When we began this year in April, we were all left distressed and homebound by the unprecedented pace with which the virus had spread through the country. But we did not lose hope. And I want to thank each and every member of my Kanpur Flow family for contributing to the society and standing together in whatever capacity they could to keep everyone busy and to elevate their moods. Over the past 3 months, my team and I have tried our best to organize some educational as well as fun workshops. From learning to listening, exercising to meditating, cooking to nutritive eating, from business to reading, we did it all together as a team. And I'm confident with this team spirit, we will achieve newer and greater heights over these months. Over the past month, I have been dreaming and waiting for the right time to organize this physical meeting. Thank you, Captain Zoya, for coming all the way to Kanpur and for being with us for the launch of our program, Ek Pyali Chai or Thodi Si Story. This event is extremely close to my heart. At the very beginning of the tenure, I had decided I wanted to do some inspiring and heart-touching stories of grit and determination, of passion and understanding. Stories which made a difference to our lives. Stories which can inspire us all to be courageous, to have the heart to take one more leap and never give up. This could not have been better than to hear the story of an 8-year-old Zoya who dreamt, desired, and finally achieved her dream of conquering the stars. Something that has changed your life, something that can inspire us. Do get in touch with Ronika Malini. We already have 4 stories from Anita Agarwal, Suprabha Dubey. Do share more stories. Let us together achieve more. Thank you so much.
So proud of her. It's an open secret that Captain Zoya Agarwal dreamt a dream when she was all of 8. She wanted to touch the stars in the luminous sky, and for that she had to learn how to fly. Throughout her student life, she had focused on one goal, that is to prove to her parents that she had to pursue her dreams of flight. True? A gifted student, she excelled in her chosen fields and even topped in her undergrad studies. See, we've done all this. Zoya went on to become a pilot and since then has been repeatedly tipped off as a star aviator. She's the very one who, on January 9th, 2021, everyone, listen to this, captained an all-woman crew for the inaugural flight between San Francisco and Bengaluru, one of the longest air routes in the world. And she flew over the North Pole. I mean, that excites me. We're delighted to have her with us, and I would request our chairperson, Kanika Ware, to unravel the twists and turns of her flights to the starry skies.
A pleasure, delight for me to come. I know it just started as an idea. I think it's God's way of perpetuating things, whatever we really want. You know, you must have really wanted it from the bottom of your heart and soul. So it just happened. And I remember that initial thought, and now we are sitting here with this beautiful setting, thanks to all you amazing girls who managed to make this a reality. And you know, I was so happy just to see the smile and the beam, the luminous beam that you had inside on the stage. I could see it just lighting up the entire room because you were so happy. So it's indeed an honor and a privilege for me to be here. Physical event, it's a big thing. I think for all of us, we finally get to see faces in a very responsible way, which is managed by you, fully vaccinated, with social distancing norms being followed. So bravo, brilliant job to Kanika ma'am and team to fly one day and conquer the stars.
But it takes a lot, along with a dream, to conquer, a desire something and then achieve it. It's not that easy. So could you actually tell us some preliminary steps which went through the whole thing?
You know, it's ironic that you're talking about it because you just underwent a similar journey of yours where everyone told you no for a physical event, but you pursued, you followed it through. You said, this is what my heart wants and this is how I'm going to make it happen and I'm going to do it. And that is the very fundamental of wanting what you want to have in life, because I truly believe the Almighty blesses us with this beautiful life, and you have to make that count yourself. And no matter whatever your environment or your surroundings may tell you, but it is your dream, and if you don't follow it through, well, nobody else will do it for you. So it's up to you, your life to live, because at the end of the day, when we do reunite with the Almighty, He's going to ask us one question. Did you do justice to your life, which I gave you after so many rebirths? So true. And that is your calling and your answer to give, and how you want to do it. Not so straightforward for girls now. It's still a more liberated world. Our statistics are a lot higher for women achieving their dreams. But when I grew up, I was the only child, and I was from a very humble background, also very conservative as well, you know. But this 8-year-old had those dreams which were to touch the stars and not very pleasing to my parents, but this was what I wanted to do. And I used to sit on top of my terrace, like I think you must have read everywhere by now. So, wanted to touch the stars. And at that time, the air traffic wasn't like it is now. There were hardly any airplanes flying. So, I would look at those few airplanes which were flying in the middle of the night, and I would often wonder, maybe I can touch the stars if I fly one of them, you know. So, that's where it all started from. And then there was this girl who was looking at the reality from where she came from, what was expected out of her, and she kept on saying, Zoya, no, forget about it. You're not even allowed to dream these things. Forget about, you know, kind of putting thoughts towards that direction of flying as a pilot. This is not what your life's path is. But then there was this 8-year-old Zoya who stays inside of me even now, pushing me to do more and more, even every single day today. She used to tell me, you know, in my years, Zoya, it's okay. Go on, follow your dreams, because there is no word is impossible. It's I am possible. Go, go, go. And that's where it started from, you know. And I just went on and on from there. And today, I have the company of all you amazing women with me, and this Zoya is in front of your eyes.
That's amazing, Zoya. And I truly believe that if you dream something, you will achieve it. You just have to have that fire inside you.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, in fact, last time you were talking about it, whatever you truly and really want in your life, so long as you want it from your heart and soul, you have that fire to pursue it, fueled by your hard work and your dedication, truly there's nothing that you cannot achieve, because it is I am possible. There is no word called impossible. The only limit that you set for yourself are your own. So are you ready to break those limits and soar up in the sky?
Yes, absolutely. Mind. Say about, let's say, what kind of subjects they should choose, or any kind of physical fitness that they need to maintain during the whole entire duration.
So if you are wanting to come in this profession is not a normal life. Firstly, we have to be prepared for that. It's not a normal 9 to 5 job. We do not get Diwali off, or Republic Day off, or Sundays off, or Saturdays off. I tell all my friends, I say, please do not mind if I call you in the middle of the night like 12 a.m., 2 a.m., or send you some messages, because that's how I am. For me, it is morning in some part of the world. you know. So it's always, and so many times, you know, when we meet for our flights and dispatch, we all, you know, gather and introduce ourselves to each other. So a lot of my crew, you know, sometimes in place of mornings, they'll say good afternoon or good evening. So I tell them it's okay, it's morning in some part of the world, don't worry. So you have to adapt that change of mentality, you know, that this is not a normal life, it's not a 9 to 5 job, I'm not going to be with my family 24/7 and it's okay, you know, it's a part and parcel. So long as you have that kind of thought process towards it, only then you come towards this field, because if you want to have this kind of a feel with a normal life, it's very difficult. But in all due honesty, looking at my life, I would not have it any other way, because, you know, it is, where else in this world do you have continuously changing views of the office? And you know, every time you, whenever I step out of my home, I wear this uniform, and from this girl Zoya, I become Captain Zoya, and I am like a completely different person after that. And I'm so ready to take on the world. When I step into the airport environment, you know, there are these little girls who are looking at me, you know, especially before the COVID times, and they would look at you and think that I want to be her, you know. And the parents, then they come to me, they're like, we want our children to be like you. And post-COVID, I get the same kind of interaction through Instagram. And it is so heart-wrenching to see the kind of message that you spread out without even saying a word.
So true. And the way you are saying, it removes a little bit of guilt from us when we are working and we are thinking back home, okay, we need to do that and this, and still we are doing this work here.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you feel like guilty about yourself, you feel that you're not giving enough time where you want to give. But after listening to you, I feel no.
Because, you know,
Proud of what you're doing.
absolutely. And in fact, you know, I always say that the biggest part of our journey is to keep ourselves going, motivated and happy. Because it's like a pie, life for me. That's what I feel. So 100% is what you get. All of us get that 100% bits of our lives, right? For me, I divide it into different segments. I say 25% is my family, 20% is my work, 4% are my acquaintances, near and dear ones. 51% of that pie, I contribute to myself, Zoya. Taking care of the 49% and beyond. If I cannot take care of this 51% my pie, well, good luck with keeping anybody else happy around me. So it's very important to keep yourself in a place where you're content. Whatever that takes. You know, if it's going out and dancing in the rain, do it. If it's going out, working out, eating a piece of chocolate cake, having coffee, whatever makes you happy, live your happy life. You will, ladies, only get your life once. Make it count. Make your 51% happy and keep the remaining 49% of the happiness around you. And that's how we go about our lives and keeping it all together. I feel. Yes, and fly high.
That's a good message to all of us. 51% to ourselves.
Absolutely. And we ignore that a lot of times. Like my friends, my family, my mom. I mean, I tell her all the time. She is like this symbol of sacrifice. And I tell her that this is, I mean, I'm truly proud of you. I love you. But I want you to live for yourself. You know? So this is the way we change our outlook. And before you know it, you're flying on top of the North Pole.
So you joined Air India as a first officer. In 2004, you flew your first flight to Dubai. In one word, what did that flight mean to you?
Kanika ma'am, that flight reminded me of, you know, it was like sometimes when you stand in the flight deck, you don't call that cockpit anymore for the right reasons. It's called flight deck. So when I was standing making the flight deck, and my entire journey of my life, when I used to be there on the terrace to my mom's tears and to my dad stepping in the picture of saying that, okay, it's okay, because he saw things getting heated up between me and my mom, to my entire struggle of just, going to college, coming back, going to the aviation classes, doing so much juggling. And joblessness after that. That entire thing flashed in front of my eyes, to my dad's heart attack, which happened 5 days prior to my Air India exam. Yeah, he was very stressed that, at that time the women pilots were not really favored, and especially a new pilot like me, who's a girl who was so young, everything was going against. And at that time, Air India was the only international airline, whereas now a lot of airlines are given international rights, but at that time it was only one airline, and pilots, very experienced pilots from other airlines would come and give written exams for Air India. So I was on the same platform, so there were like 7 job vacancies for my category, and I was competing against 3,000 pilots, and so many of them like so experienced. I just have to sum it up in one word, that God's grace, God always, I feel, charts a path for all of us, whether we know about it or we don't, but we follow that path and that journey, which maybe once, we look back and see, we'll probably realize that that happened for a purpose. And that entire path, my struggle, my journey till then, my dad's tears in his ICCU, the cardiac unit, the helplessness that he felt for not being able to help me out, and how he told me that, no Zoya, I want you to go for your written exam of Air India, I want you to go and do it. And how I cleared it, it's a funny story as a matter of fact. I reached Mumbai for my written exam, and I was carrying 20,000 rupees for the stay and everything in a polythene bag, and I kept it outside, where my exam was. You will not believe it, by the time I finished my exam, it got stolen. So everything had a flashback, And I said, today I have reached here, which is where I wanted to reach, and I could not believe it, And then that journey began, and the rest is history. God has been so kind. I am so blessed to have the blessings of the Almighty, because I truly believe that every single thing, every breath that we have is indebted to the Almighty. And the voice of the 8-year-old Zoya, who kept on pushing me, to the support of my parents, without which I wouldn't have been there. So everything flashed in front of my eyes right the moment when I was, starting my pre-flight preparation. I said, today, that moment has come. So it was amazing.
Like I'm feeling. Finally, that moment has come.
I can imagine, yes.
So, in 2006, you also had that doubts and stereotypes linger with the profession. You had said that when we were in uniform, passengers used to thought, once they thought that you were the flight attendant. So, how much the needle has shifted from there to here, and what do you think? Do we again need more glass ceilings to be broken?
Absolutely, I think women need to shatter, like literally shatter with a lot of punch, the glass ceilings. And you know how we do it? When you have 5 fingers together and we punch the glass. That's how we break and shatter the glass. And we do it all together. That is the power of togetherness for all of us. And we have so many milestones to reach, and I want to see every single milestone and glass ceilings being broken. When in 2006, so many times, I would go behind the cabin and I would be mistaken as a cabin crew, which is nothing wrong, but it's just the way we perceive our women, In 2004, I was the 5th girl pilot in Air India. And I was like a little kid, and I still am, of course, forever will be. And but from there, we have gone to a percentage of 12.4% in India, which is humongous. And globally we are still sitting at a percentage of 5% of lady pilots. So I think India has come such a long way in women empowerment. You know, it's amazing for me to see, and I would want to see more of our women coming up together and making this percentage 50%. So please, ladies, come forward for your children, for your girls. You know, make them these amazing leaders of tomorrow, the change makers, the captains. I mean, world is your oyster. Tell your daughters, tell yourselves that it's never too late to achieve that dream that you've been wanting to achieve. It's never अब मैं बहुत लेट हो गई हूँ लाइफ में, नहीं. करो, सोचो, आगे बढ़ो और आपको सक्सेस जरूर मिलेगा.
That's what we are all doing. And Flow's motto is to power to empower. So we are basically trying to empower each one around us and ourselves also.
And you know, it's amazing. Women supporting women, women supporting girls, women supporting men, men supporting women. We all support each other to empower the world, to have an equal world, which all our focus should be to have a world where it's going to be the same for our sons and daughters. So that is what we all should strive to do together. And whatever steps that we take every single day, whether it's सुबह की चाय से रात के डिनर तक, हमारे को यही सोच के करना चाहिए, because एक equal world हमारे को future generations के लिए छोड़ के जाना.
True. You were the youngest female pilot to captain a Boeing 777 in 2013. Tell us a bit about the events and the decisions by the airlines, like how they allowed, like what was going in their mind, and how did you feel as a captain to take so many passengers along with you 30,000 feet above the sea level? How was the feeling?
So, you know, right from day one, when you join the airline, whether you're whatever the age, it doesn't matter, you're always treated as the second in command. That means you're always taught the value of responsibility, because they did not see me as a woman, as a girl who is lesser. They saw me as a girl who has come here, who is motivated and who is driven to rise to whatever it takes. And I think a lot of times when we tell ourselves that we are no less than the men, we are more, as a matter of fact, if anything else, we have this capability to produce another life, which nobody else can, you know. It is an amazing thought. When we tell ourselves we are lesser, if we are a woman, you've lost the battle right there and then. We should tell ourselves that we are empowered and we can do this and more and beyond, you know. So it's about our power of thought. First, we all have to empower ourselves and not think that we are lesser in any way, because that's when your struggle will start. The moment you start thinking you're weaker or you're lesser, because you're not, you're more. Always have that halo on your head and move on with that halo. Because that's what other people will also see that, and it's just going to radiate. Like, I personally never had anybody saying that, oh, you're a girl, this should not be done because you're a girl. It's about how you put your foot forward. That's how you're going to resonate the energy around you. So I was truly blessed and privileged to have my instructors, my seniors, who respected me and trained me as one of the boys or girls. It didn't really matter. And by God's grace, I reached that feat. I didn't plan to. I still feel that this Zoya is just a tiny drop in the ocean. You know, I still feel that if I can make change, or I can even inspire one person sitting out here, I've done my bit on this beautiful Mother Earth. That's why I always feel that way, you know. So it was not a part of my plan, but it so happened, and I'm truly blessed by the Almighty and grateful.
I think they also could, feel that halo around you.
You're too kind. Thank you.
In 2015, you were applauded for saving a passenger's life for a flight bound to New York. There were 27 passengers and a male passenger complained of breathing problems. Please explain what was going on in your mind and under these circumstances. Is there a chain of command which has to be followed?
So that flight was a very interesting one. We took off from Delhi to New York JFK, and I was the captain of that flight and the youngest crew member. And the cabin crew told me that this passenger is not going to survive more than 2 hours. We were flying over Pakistan. Pakistan, at that time, we were having some tensions, the geopolitical tensions. So my choice was, well, either to go to Lahore, which was pretty close to me, but then because the geopolitical tension, my purpose of saving that passenger life was, well, it could have completely gone for a toss because of the whole point of getting medical attention to the passenger, is important. If I could not manage to do that, considering the geopolitical tensions, it would have been a lost cause. So I made a decision of going back to Delhi, which had really bad weather. Like it had lightning and thunderstorms and like insane weather that particular day of September. I still remember that. And problem with our flight was I was carrying an Olympic size pool of fuel, which I had to get rid of. JFK, which is a 16-hour flight, like on the other side, of the globe. So it's something that was playing on my mind, and I also had to make a quick decision because Delhi had lightning, and fuel plus lightning is not a good recipe. The very fact that I'm sitting in front of you today, that means that we made it. So we requested the air traffic controllers of Pakistan, and they were not very conducive, of course. So they said no. But I always feel that no is never an answer. No is always the next opportunity to make the no into yes. It's always the no, right? In life. No is always omnipresent. You have to think, how can you turn that no into a yes? Because even if there's 0.0000001% chance of making that no into a yes, take it, girl, take it. You should always try for it because there is that chance, no matter how minuscule that chance is. So I took it. I came on the mic and I told them, sir, today, if you help us with doing this, we may help save a life together. He got back to me in 2 minutes and they allowed us. So that is the power of communication and being virtually deaf to the word no. Like you always have to say that no is not the answer. You want to turn it into a yes? Try it. It again is no, try again. The entire time is yours. You have all the luxury of time. But never give up on a no. That is something, if you don't give up, others will resonate to that energy. And eventually, believe you me, you will turn that no into a yes. Because of your power of belief.
And this is one flight which we are aware of, but there will be a number of flights, where people with some kind of health complications might arrive. How do you handle that situation?
Kanika ma'am, for us in our airline, I'm extremely honored and proud to be associated with our national flag carrier because I think we are given a different way of thought process. From the very beginning, they teach us to put human life ahead of no matter how much about the money. So that I feel in the Indian culture, as a tradition of Air India, I think it's a great thing to teach your children, your generations, future generations, to put human lives ahead of everything else. So whenever I see a passenger, I always see a mother or a father, a daughter or a son, a sister or a brother, a child, I never see a life, because for you it may be just a life, but for somebody else they mean the world. So I always see that, and whatever decision I take, always have those things at the back of my mind. And that day also, we did lose out a lot of money on because of the fuel. But once we landed, we got that passenger the medical attention, and the passenger survived. That was the best thing ever. Because to save a human life is a different kind of a feeling altogether.
That's why we call Air India proudly we say Dhwaj Wahak.
Exactly, Dhwaj Wahak. And I'm so happy to be associated, with such an amazing airline. I mean, we have had women empowerment. I mean, I must educate this to you all. In Air India, we have always had women empowerment from the very beginning. Like in 2004, imagine they're giving us equal opportunity. The very fact that she said about 2013, the My 777 fee, it's a very representation of the actions, from the airline. Whereas leading airlines across the world did not take lady pilots till as late as 2016. And the first time for that leading airline, the woman pilot flew in 2019. As late as 2019, and I'm talking leading big carriers. So Air India was always ahead of its time. I think it's a wonderful airline which gives a lot of weightage to women empowerment. It gives us wings from the very beginning and treats us at an absolutely level platform with the boys. So I'm extremely proud of it.
That's really good to hear. You feel proud of your own country.
Absolutely. And it's such a great feeling to go out in the world wearing your uniform with pride to represent that. So every time you walk out, that's what they're looking at you as the ambassador of India. And I think again the same thing happened earlier this year when we did this North Pole flight. It gave, the whole world was sitting on this negativity from 2020 of COVID, and this flight was there, and I could see the excitement right from San Francisco to flying over North Pole to Russia to Pakistan to India. Everybody was so charged up about this flight, and you could, you sense excitement and happiness in people's voice. And that is what I was sensing it. Not just us passengers, of course, my passengers, our crew, we were all excited, our company. But to hear that level of happiness in people's voices all across the world was at a completely different level. And I think this flight gave the very silver lining to the dark COVID cloud that was just hovering over all of us. And for that some time it gave that, and I'm truly blessed to be a part of it.
That gave us, all that silver line to all of us, that yes, we can all do something more. We can achieve more.
Even with the mask on.
So let's assume you made some kind of announcement when you were crossing over the North Pole.
I made 7 announcements. I don't think I think we did break a record in a lot of things, and we must have broken a record with the announcements also. The 7 announcements, I was so excited to share every single moment with all my passengers, because I felt this flight was so special, and everybody knew we were crossing over the North Pole. We were getting stop for selfies with the mask like every 1 meter in San Francisco. It was exhilarating from the word go. Everybody was supercharged. So I made it, right from when we boarded the airplane, and then to before entering something known as polar region. There's like a kind of a catware which is called polar region. So I made it then I made it when we were close to the North Pole, when we exited the North Pole, and so on and so forth. Because I wanted every single person to see that flight through my eyes, through all of our eyes. Because it was not about me. I always feel that we all do these things together. And my passengers were with me on that flight, and we were all turning a whole new leaf in aviation history together. And I truly believe in the power of together.
But crossing over the North Pole must be having some challenges. because of the magnetic field?
Yes, absolutely. It's not like a normal flight. In fact, there are a lot of challenges involved which you have to prepare for from the beginning. And North Pole has a lot of things which are very unique. Like for example, we have to have a lot of check in the boxes before the flight, and a lot of other special equipments which we need: crew training, cabin crew training. There are a lot of equipments which have to be serviceable. For example, there has to be, polar suits which cost like quite a lot. So when I version there, you just freeze. So there are a lot of things which are there, but what makes it truly spectacular in the air is, from a passenger's point of view, the constellations. The sky is really pitch dark during winters, and that makes the constellations, the stars shine so much like diamonds. I mean, you think diamonds shine? No. The North Pole stars do. I wish I could pluck some, But and then on top of that, you have those aurora borealis, what we call as northern lights, which we do tours for, So you will see that, and you could see the starry sky. So I was like making constant announcements that passengers, look here, look there, and everybody was so happy. I think by the end of the flight, that towards the end, the crew told me they ran out of the passenger feedback forms. We had only 150 of them on board. I've never had it before in like my 17 years of career, So now what do? People are asking to fill up because they were so happy just through the entire experience that they were also part of creating history, in this COVID world especially. Everybody was super happy. So we had to get them tissue papers to write their feedback on.
That's true. But did you feel any kind of anxiety during those 17 hours of flight?
I was, anxiety is not a word I would use. I think it's a sense of responsibility that is always on your shoulders, because especially, being a captain, and this flight was, we were all women crew, and, the entire world was looking upon you. So I think we were all prepared to handle any kind of challenges. Like for 3 days in San Francisco, I almost didn't step out at all, which is very unlike me, because I believe in living life to the fullest. Exactly. So, and I was like making sure whatever has to be prepared for, we were geared up for it. So it was a great sense of responsibility, which, by the end of it, this was PM Modi ji's dream that was coming through to connect the two Silicon Valleys of the US and India. So we were just so humbled, yet relieved after we landed in India to be a part of it. That dream could finally turn into reality. So it was an amazing feeling.
Would like to board that flight once.
Absolutely, it will be my pleasure.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, Government of India started with this Vande Bharat mission in May 2020. And I think they evacuated around 14,800 Indians from 12 countries on 64 Air India flights. And you were the chosen one for the first repatriation flight home. How was it?
It just so happened that, I think I have this connection with San Francisco. There's nothing more I can say. I think we are linked in our previous births for some reason. So I had volunteered. So we were asked, whosoever wanted to fly, we could tell them. And
I never felt like, it was pandemic, so relentless, everybody.
I did, but then again, it's a job. Somebody has to step up to evacuate our brothers and sisters. Somebody has to. If we all decide to sit at home, somebody has to run the world. Like, imagine if all the doctors were to say, I'm scared. No, it's not an option. It's some people who are really bound, they could not. And some of us have to step up to the call of duty, because there were so many of our nationals who were stuck at that point in time. The world statistics were not good, the US statistics, and we had to bring our brothers, our sisters back from there, our nationals. And I'm glad I could be a part of it. And I remember that was, the flight was for Mother's Day, it was slated. And my heart was paining that I'm going to be away from my family, my mom, but then again, the bigger picture took over, and I had to think think about how many mothers are going to be reunited with their children just because of that one flight. So it's that thing that keeps you motivated. And when we landed back, rightly so, in Mumbai, I still remember Ganika ma'am, the entire cabin was filled with applause. They were so happy to come back into India, to their families, because they were stranded in the US for months and they were not able to get back. That we had that COVID protocol of standing in the queue outside the airplane with the shields on. And when me and my team were walking outside, they were all clapping with tears in their eyes. And I'm just so glad that because of Air India, Vande Bharat mission, PM Modi ji, our ministry, our whole initiative, we could reunite the mothers with their children. So that is an amazing feeling, and I think those tears of those passengers are going to go down to my grave, because those are the visuals which you don't forget.
So true. But this time, Zoya, I feel even in India we saw all our frontline workers. The way everybody came forward and they did their job. Otherwise, we couldn't have done what we have done. What India achieved, we couldn't have done it.
Absolutely. I think how COVID has reunited all of us. How there is no community anymore. There is no religion anymore. It's about one cause driving all of us towards one result, which is to make things better. And that's it. And this is why I think all of us have, like, I know you guys have done an amazing job with the plasma.
We did.
So hats off, bravo to every single one of you. I think this time it's my turn for the applause. Please join me to make it louder. So I think we all have contributed in our own little way, and that's how we make the ocean, by having one drop of us, right?
Yes.
So we've all been one drops, and I think it's amazing what a power of community when we come together can do.
Such a surreal experience, listening to you about the whole story. It gives me goosebumps right now. I'm sure a lot of members might need to ask you something, Zoya. But before that, there's a short rapid fire plan for you.
Okay.
For that, I would like to invite Ronika Modi to come.
Should I be scared?
The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings.
Absolutely.
Okay, so listening to you, I feel very motivated. I was wondering, your life has been, you've been thrown spanners in the wheel, there have been roadblocks, there have been even, on the flight, the passenger, you have to give tissue papers for them to write that down. So, impediments have been thrown at you and you've surmounted it with grace and courage and motivation and dignity. Your life is like a motivational story in its own way. It's very empowering. And with Ek Pyari Chai and Thodi Si Story, there is a quote by Benjamin Franklin. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. I think Zoya has involved you enough to make you put your pen to paper and write some stories of your own. And please give it to us. Nalini and I are waiting on the other side. So quick rapid fire, Zoya. Okay, ready? So if you owned an airlines, which designer, international and Indian, would you have chosen to design the uniforms? I want two names. One international, one Indian.
So I was just in Paris and I was talking, again deeply honored to be presented with an honorary membership of the French Women Pilots Association.
Wow.
And I was talking to the oldest woman pilot over there, the legendary Captain Christine. She was telling me how this designer called Christian Lacroix used to do, yes. So they used to do the designs for their uniform. So definitely him because he's experienced. And he makes skirts for women pilots, which I love.
And if it were Indian, then?
India is so full of talent now.
Okay.
So amazing.
Give me your pick.
Okay, so I have grown up with Tarun Tahiliani. He's like looking up like, wow. Okay.
So So Tarun, okay, Tarun and Lakron, okay. Which color you would like to experiment with on your hair next?
Pink, but I don't think I'll be able to.
Why not?
Nothing is impossible,
What
right?
is it? Among all the cities you've visited, which is the closest to paradise?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Our beautiful Mother Earth is paradise. Paradise is a filter we wear on our eyes. Okay? And wherever we go, we carry that with us.
The closest to paradise. I want to know filter answer.
Right now, with you ladies and with the beautiful setting, this is paradise for me.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Well done with this. Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, thank you. Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic or Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin? Which one?
Richard Branson. Any day. But always
Twitter, Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram. Instagram.
Which airport is the most stunning to land in?
San Martin. I haven't been there because Google. It's got like the airplanes are right over the beach at hardly any altitude. Like
I shall
you
Google it.
literally like look up and you'll see and you'll probably get scared and have different kind of goosebumps looking at the airplane so close to you.
Great. Which airport runway the toughest you have navigated?
You know, toughness is in your mind. I think if you put that toughness that I can do anything, it's just about a mental makeup and nothing is.
Are there runways like tougher?
Yeah, of course there are, but you know, it's about you tell yourself that I'm going to do it. That's your job and it's a responsibility, and well, life is a breeze from there, and that's it.
Okay. You're a nail art fan. Which salon is the best for it? These questions are so frivolous after you talk, but that's what I wanted.
I love nail artists. I think life is about having your various, personalities.
Yes.
So it's not just because you're a professional, you cannot have, your girly side.
Right?
There are different aspects of us. You can be a true blue professional, and you can be a girly pinky girl, and you can have nail art, and you can wear high heels and pants.
Yes, and you can turn back the aircraft for a measly man. Yes, that's all right.
You know, and you can fly.
Pink and pie.
To support Pride, with our brothers and sisters, I think it's high time we should open our eyes to and encourage our generations towards Pride. So the
You're so
rainbow
right.
colors are the
You're
future.
so right. Yes. Meditation, yoga, or gym? Which is the greatest stress buster?
Take a guess. You take a guess.
Huh?
You take a guess.
Gym? Other than the SF Bengaluru flight, which has been the second most exciting flight you have captained? Second most.
Second most.
Exciting.
So
Thrilling.
many.
Thrilling.
There have been so many actually. Yes, so many of them.
One off the cuff. One.
I think Delhi, New York, I have had a lot of things when we deplaned our passengers on the runway. That was very interesting.
Why?
Because there were no parking bays. The New York airport had just opened its doors to the world's flights, and we were one of the first ones to land. And after we landed that storm, I was like, okay, let's go to the hotel and relax. But no, my flight was 4 hours more to begin. And we had to get our passengers out because in the US there's a law, you cannot have the passengers for more than 4 hours in the airplane.
Oh. So
Yeah.
you have to deplane them.
So, no, we were the first ones to do it. And after us, all the airlines followed suit. And it was such a different experience because you're not under the authority of the typical airport control, you're under the state authority. So you have a completely different procedure to kind of get out. And it was quite exciting because it was so different. Like, I have never had to worry about, I never thought I'll ever have to worry about having fuel run out on me on the ground.
When was
That
it?
different.
It's in past, like 3 years?
2017 or 18, I think, something like that. It leaves an indelible mark on your psyche because they impact you in one way or the other. And of course, You know, we fly with such amazing people on our flights, and so many times those powerful conversations, you know, leave an impact on you and change you for the better.
Right. Which set of wheels gives you an equal high as riding a plane?
Oh my God, you're asking me very tough questions.
No.
My bicycle wheels.
Yes?
I love it.
Okay, I'll take it. Which is a chocolate or a particular food that you have picked up at the airports around the world that you especially love?
Protein bars. I'm a protein bar junkie.
Okay. So
Love
that's
it.
a wrap. That's a wrap. Thank you, Soya, so much.
Thank you.
Nalini?
We can take some questions.
No. Yes. Any questions from the audience? Anybody wants to ask any questions? No?
I just wanted to say my son came back on the Vande Bharat flight, so I'm very glad to meet you and have pilots like you who made it possible for all the students who were stuck in the US and everywhere.
I'm so happy that you were, reunited with your son because of that. I think like I always say, I'm blessed to be a part of the airline industry and who's not even had any job loss in the airline, and that says a billion things.
Vande Bharat was absolutely wonderful and really needed.
Absolutely. I mean, going across, we've had job cuts. It pains my heart to see my friends losing jobs. But in India, there hasn't been so much at all. At least in Air India, there hasn't been any job cuts. Which again, I always say time and time again, I'm extremely proud to be associated with an organization which is so humane in so many levels. Right from no job cut to the very fact that we're carrying out amazing missions like Vande Bharat. So I think a round of applause for my organization.
And what I wanted to ask is, I have seen, since you were 8 years old, you knew what you wanted to be. If you talk to teenagers I have in my field, I've spoken to women out there, they don't have things figured out for themselves. So to someone like you who always had a clarity of thought, to women out there who still don't, what would you say to them to empower? Because I went to my mother asking as to, why should it be like that? I have figured out things for myself. I'm on the way. But there are women out there, what can I do? She's like, just keep doing your job and you'll reach there.
What field are you in?
So I was taking care of schools and colleges for 5 years with my mother. After marriage, from Jaipur I shifted to Kanpur, and now I'm taking care of Flower Mill by myself. So a change in field, but my heart is still there.
I thought you were like some 17 or 18 year old kid.
No, 27.
Oh, wow, the other which we want to do. Don't we? Tell me, please raise your hands. Do we all have something or the other which you want to do? Please raise your hands. Has there been something in your life that you know that you want to do? Yeah? Raise your hands. So, a lot of hands being raised. Where we get roadblocked, where we get restricted is by our environment. Everyone in life, not for a good or a bad reason, wants to protect you because you are their family, and they will tell you to do whatever they want to do, they want you to do in their lives. For example, my parents had a very valid reason for me not to become a pilot. My mom, when she cried because I was not going to follow a path where I was going to raise her grandchildren and get married and have her vision of life which she had thought about. It was to protect me so as to be fitting into her vision. It's always for the good. Your family would always want good for you, but you have to ask that question. Do you want that for yourself or not? Is that what your heart's calling is? If it is, by all means. I think most of the people who get directionless is because they cannot go past those thoughts. They cannot rise up beyond those pressures of the environment. Because if I also kneel down when I was 8 years old, I wouldn't have been here in front of you all today. If I kneeled down to my mom's tears when I told her that I wanted to become a pilot, and she cried, she's, oh, हमारे कोई भगवान ने ऐसा बच्चा देना था, and you know, काश मेरी कोई normal बेटी होती. And then I told her I want to become a prime minister. Then she cried even harder. She's like, क्यों? मैंने ऐसा क्या किया इस लड़की के साथ जो ये ऐसे निकली? So if I were to kneel down on that day to get weak, it's easy for us to get weak. We all have weak moments. Every day we have to climb that mountain of weakness, you know. We have to gather ourselves together, say that no, this is not what I wanted, this is what I want. Because when you rise up, when you break that mountain into tiny little hills, and when you reach the top of the mountain, that's where the view is the best. And that's when you're flying over the North Pole. लाइफ में कोई बड़ा होने वाला होता है ना, तो मुझे पता आपको कुछ ना कुछ होएगा. Yeah, so exactly, you know, I was just joking with them to kind of make it lighthearted. But I think she's proud of me now. So finally the tears of pure enjoy, yes.
Cheers of pride.
So that's how. Yeah. It's true, and Air India has one of the most, it's one of the most experienced airlines, and we have very, very experienced pilots. Yeah, don't go by the age and all, but like even for the North Pole flight, they had a lot of experience in the flight deck. So it's amazing, like even if with the flag carrier, you will have special permissions everywhere because they train based on the hours, the experience that the pilots have had. So again, I'm also very, very, very proud of it, that it offers such amazing things to
We are all very proud of you.
Vice Chair Pooja Gupta to give away the green certificate to our guest.
For our green Sundarban forest, and you can track it.
Just to stay back.
Jupiter.
Okay, hold on. I forgot it. Sorry. Pooja, go to friends.
Nothing which gives you more pleasure than seeing all of you. So a big hands that you're all vaccinated. I'm not a coffee person, but I am a chai person. Why are you asking me to do a coffee? Then I said, and then again I insisted, why not over coffee? She said, I am not Karan Johar. So again I had to surrender to the fancy of my chairperson, and we decided that we will have a blogging series. She wanted to name it Thodi Si Story, and I was super excited. One of the longest air routes in the world. Now we have all heard the story and we know why she is here. Hearing her story of success and strife is an undying grit and determination, and I have truly loved her saying repeatedly to all of us, I am possible. So with all these, with all the little push and a little pressure, we can truly shine if we want to. We are grateful for all the lovely insight that you have given us, Zoya. I'm superly happy and hope that these stories give our members confidence to pursue our dreams and what we want to achieve in life. I'm even thankful to all our floor members who have come in such large number today, who has joined us today. This event would not have been possible without your people and without your confidence in us. I'm even thankful to our event chair. Please, I want Ronita Modi and Nalini to at least come forward, and all of you to give a big round of applause. You have to see the minute detailing done by these event chairs today, right from the aircraft to the event chairs. We are truly blessed to have such a team with us, which are right there waiting in the lounge for you guys. Not the least, our media and the members without which this event would not have been possible. And I'm sorry that I forgot the points of our team.
Thank you, Kanika ma'am, once again to Kanika. The entire organization, I must say, I don't impress easily, but I have to say I am truly impressed by the minutest of details, the way things have happened here.
I am so amazed at how you have done the boarding card, to the airplane, to the impeccably set up tables everywhere. A job very, very, very well done. And ladies, for all of you, do not forget, I am possible.